Welcome to the Morning English Podcast. Listen, learn, and speak English daily.
Hello, English learners, and welcome to our podcast. My name is Emma, and we are so happy that you are here with us today.
And I'm Mark. Yes, welcome everyone. It's wonderful to have you here with us today.
We really want to make sure you know that you are a part of our community here. No matter where you are listening from, it's like you are sitting right here in the room with us.
Exactly, like a third friend just hanging out and having coffee with us.
Right, because this is a safe, relaxed place to learn real English. I mean, there are no tests here.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, and absolutely no pressure. We just want to help you learn the everyday English that people, actually use in real life.
Which is honestly the best way to learn, isn't it? Just naturally through good, fun conversation. So before we jump into today's main topic, how has your week been? Did anything interesting happen lately?
Well, it's actually funny you ask because I had a very relatable kind of embarrassing moment just yesterday.
Oh, do tell.
So I was at my local coffee shop, right? Trying to order my usual drink. The barista smiled and asked what I wanted. I opened my mouth and just nothing.
Oh, no.
You forgot I completely forgot the word caramel. I mean, a word I use all the time. I just stood there pointing at the menu like a statue, feeling my face turn bright red. I felt so foolish.
Oh, wow. I know that feeling so well. It is just amazing how our brains can suddenly, completely turn off when we were talking to someone.
It really is. And while that tiny awkward moment at the coffee shop is actually the perfect example of what we were talking about today.
Oh, nice transition.
Thank you. Today, our deep dive is all about confident communication. But just to be clear, we are not talking about being a perfect, flawless speaker.
Right, because nobody is flawless.
Exactly. We are going to look at the secret mechanics of everyday conversations. We will explore why our brains sometimes sabotage us, like making us forget simple words, and most importantly, how to build real confidence so you can speak English or, any language without fear.
This is going to be incredibly helpful for anyone who ever feels nervous speaking up. So if you enjoy our conversations, please take a quick second to like, subscribe, and share this with one friend who is also learning English. It really helps our community grow.
It sure does. So let's start with a question for you, the listener. Think about your own life for a second. Have you ever been in an online meeting or maybe just talking to a group of friends and you are explaining an idea perfectly until you forget one single simple word?
The worst feeling.
It is. Your mind goes entirely blank. The silence just stretches out. Panic sets in and you feel like you have, forgotten how to speak entirely. Why does one missing word make us feel so terrified?
Yeah, to understand that, we actually need to look at what is happening inside your brain in that exact moment. Because when you forget a word, you aren't just experiencing a memory problem.
Wait, really? It's not just a memory thing?
No, not at all. Your brain actually experiences a threat. It triggers what we call the fight or flight response.
Oh, that's a great phrase. Let's explain that for our listeners. Fight or flight. In English, this describes the body's natural automatic reaction to danger. You either want to fight the danger or fly away, meaning run away from it.
Yes, perfectly explained. So thousands of years ago, the fight or flight response protected us from wild animals. A tiger jumps out, you get a rush of energy to run.
Right, very useful for tigers.
Exactly. But today, your brain feels that same intense danger just from an awkward social silence. When that panic hits, it floods your body with adrenaline. And here is the fascinating part, that stress chemical actually blocks your prefrontal cortex.
The prefrontal cortex?
Yeah, which is the part of your brain responsible for language and logic.
Oh, wow. That makes so much sense. So when I panic because I lost a word like caramel, my brain is literally turning off my ability to find the word.
Precisely. It's shutting down the language center to give you energy to run away. So the missing word isn't the real problem. The problem is how we react to the silence. When we panic, we start treating the conversation like a tightrope walk.
Oh, I love that analogy. Let's paint a picture for everyone listening. A tightrope is a very thin rope, pulled tight, high up in the air at a circus.
Right, very scary.
Very. And if you are walking on a tightrope, you have to be absolutely perfect because if you make one small mistake, you fall and it is a complete disaster.
But conversation is not a tightrope walk. A real conversation is more like a hike. A walk through a natural forest trail.
Oh, that's a much nicer image.
Right. When you are on a hike, the ground is uneven. You might trip over a tree root or a rock. But if you trip on a hike, it is not a disaster. You don't fall off a cliff. You just catch your balance, keep walking, and enjoy the scenery.
That is so true. We need to stop treating English conversations like tightropes and start treating them like hikes. Tripping over a word is just a normal part of the terrain.
Exactly. But, of course, the feeling of embarrassment is so strong in the moment. The natural instinct is to try and fix it by filling the silence. We start talking faster, using 20 random words to try and hide the fact that we forgot one word,
Yes, we start over-explaining.
which just makes us more nervous. The best thing to do when you trip on that conversational hike is simply pause. Let the silence happen for a second. You can even smile and say, I just lost my train of thought.
Oh, stop right there. That is a wonderful, everyday English idiom. To lose your train of thought. Listeners, try saying it with us. Lose your train of thought.
Great job.
This just means you forgot what you were going to say next. It is incredibly common, and native speakers use this phrase all the time. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. It just takes away all the pressure.
It really does. Now, this fear of making a mistake doesn't just happen when we speak out loud. Sometimes it happens before we even say a single word. We see this all the time with text messages and emails.
Oh my goodness, yes. The blinking cursor of doom. Think about a time you needed to send a simple message to a coworker or maybe a neighborhood group chat.
Oh, I have definitely been there.
Let's say your building manager announces the water will be turned off tomorrow for maintenance, but they don't give a time. So you just want to ask, what time does the water go off?
A completely normal, rational question.
Right. Very simple. But you type it out, and then you start overthinking. You think, is this too direct? Will they think I'm complaining? Am I using the right grammar?
So you delete it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You delete it. You rewrite it. You spend 10 minutes agonizing over one short sentence. Meanwhile, someone else in the chat simply types, what time, and gets an immediate normal answer.
This is a perfect example of how our minds invent problems that do not exist. We imagine this highly dramatic, judgmental situation, but the reality is usually just a low-stakes, ordinary exchange.
So true.
The rule of thumb here, and rule of thumb just means a practical, helpful guideline for everyday life. The rule of thumb is that if your message is clear and polite, review it exactly once, and then hit send.
Review it exactly once. I love that. Don't give your brain time to invent imaginary disasters. Just send it.
Exactly. Which actually leads us to a broader challenge, the fear of taking action at all. Because sometimes the anxiety paralyzes us before we even enter the room.
Ah, yes. The doorway dilemma.
The doorway dilemma.
So, there is this very common scenario that happens to people who want to improve their public speaking. Imagine someone signs up for a weekend communication workshop. They drive there, they arrive early to calm their nerves, and they walk down the hallway.
Okay, sounds good so far.
But when they get to the doorway of the classroom, they freeze. They hear people chatting inside, and suddenly they feel completely paralyzed.
Let's quickly pause there. Paralyzed is a great word for our listeners to know. It basically means being completely unable to move or act, usually because of intense fear.
Exactly. So they are paralyzed, they stand outside this door, and they start inventing an elaborate escape plan. They think, I'll pretend I have a phone call, I'll walk back to my car, and I'll just drive home.
Keep in mind, they paid for this workshop.
Right, and no one inside has even seen them yet. Nothing bad has actually happened.
This illustrates a very deep misunderstanding we have about confidence. That person standing in the hallway is waiting for their fear to disappear before they walk in.
Yes. They think they need to feel brave first.
Exactly. They believe that confidence is a magical feeling that arrives to rescue you. But confidence doesn't come first. Action comes first.
Action comes first. Let's really think about that, listeners. You cannot wait for the fear to vanish. You have to take the action while you are still scared.
Because what happens next in this scenario is actually amazing. A volunteer inside the room notices the person through the glass, opens the door, and says, "Hi, are you here for the workshop?"
And the person answers, yes, it's my first time.
Right. The entire interaction takes maybe 7 seconds. But in those 7 seconds, the paralysis breaks. They are no longer agonizing over the decision of whether to enter out. They are already in the conversation.
Wow.
The physical action forces the brain to move forward.
But hold on, let me push back on this a little bit. When I am nervous about walking into a room or starting a conversation, my instinct is to prepare. I want to stand in the hallway and mentally script out the entire interaction.
Write a whole movie script in your head, right?
Yeah. I want to plan my first sentence, predict what they will say back to me, plan my second sentence, maybe think of a clever joke to make them laugh. Doesn't that kind of mental scripting build confidence?
It feels like preparation, but psychologically, it is actually just a form of stalling.
Stalling. Meaning like delaying the action.
Yes, because while you are busy directing a complicated movie in your head, you are completely absent from the present moment. And you cannot control what the other person is going to say anyway.
That is a very good point. They never read the script I wrote for them.
Exactly. So a much more effective strategy is to prepare only your very first line.
Just the opening sentence.
That's all. Something simple like, "Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm here for the workshop." Or even just, "Hello, how is your morning going?" That one line is just the vehicle to get you through the doorway. Once you say it, your only job is to listen.
Wow, that takes so much pressure off. If you are just listening, you don't have to invent the entire conversation on your own.
No, you really don't.
You just listen for one detail in their answer. If they say, oh, it's been a really busy morning here, you just naturally ask, really, what's keeping you so busy? The conversation naturally hands you the next step.
Exactly. Listening reduces the pressure to perform. It takes the spotlight off of you.
Okay, so we've talked about getting into the room, but let's raise the stakes a bit. What happens when you are in the conversation and you actually make a real mistake?
Ah, a real error.
Yeah, not just forgetting a word, but a genuine error.
Yeah.
Let's imagine you work at a front desk and you accidentally give a client the wrong appointment time. You tell them 10 a.m., but later you realize it was actually supposed to be 1 p.m.
Oh, a classic panic-inducing error.
So if I am that employee and I have to call the client to fix it, my instinct is to explain why it happened.
Of course.
I want to say, oh, I'm so sorry our computer system crashed this morning and then the phones were ringing and I was looking at the wrong calendar. Doesn't giving an excuse soften the blow? Doesn't it prove to them that I am not just careless?
This is such a common instinct. But let's look at what's actually happening when you do that. We often confuse over-explaining with communicating well.
Oh, interesting. Say more about that.
Well, when you offer long, elaborate excuses about computers and busy mornings, you are attempting to control the other person's emotions. You want them to pity you or, forgive you quickly.
Yeah, I want them to not be mad at me.
But to the client, it just sounds defensive. We call this a weak repair.
A weak repair. So what is the alternative? How do I fix the mistake without looking defensive?
You use a strong repair. A strong repair owns the mistake immediately, keeps the apology very brief, and immediately offers a correction or a solution. No excuses, no long stories.
Okay, let's give our listeners a clear example of that. How would you handle the appointment mistake using a strong repair?
I would simply say, "I apologize, but I gave you the wrong time. Your appointment is at 1 p.m., not 10 a.m. I can check our schedule to see if we have an earlier opening."
Notice the structure there, listeners. Apologize clearly, state the correct fact, and offer a next step. But wait, Mark, if I don't give a reason, the client might still be angry. In fact, they might say, well, that is incredibly inconvenient. I rearranged my whole morning for this.
They might. And this is a very difficult but vital lesson. Confident communication does not guarantee that the other person will be happy.
Oof, that's hard to hear.
It is. You can communicate perfectly, and someone might still be frustrated. Confidence means you stay clear and responsible, even when the other person is upset. You hold your ground.
Holding your ground, another great phrase. Listeners, this means staying strong in your position and not running away or breaking down when things get tough.
Right. You don't argue with their emotion, but you don't absorb endless blame either. You just say, "I completely understand why that is frustrating, and I apologize for the inconvenience." You acknowledge their feelings, but you don't offer 10 more excuses.
That requires so much self-trust. And this strong repair method actually applies beautifully to delivering bad news or disagreeing with people at work, too. It is so easy to use weak, nervous language when we disagree.
Because we want everyone to like us.
Exactly. Say your team wants to finish a project by Friday, but you know it just isn't possible. The weak way to communicate is to say, maybe Friday could work, but I'm just a little worried. This is just my opinion, but maybe we need more time.
Yeah, that sounds very unsure.
Right. You use all these extra words to soften the impact, but you end up burying your actual professional opinion.
A much better strategy is the 3-part framework. It keeps your communication clean, respectful, and confident. The 3 parts are: state your main view, give one reason, and offer a practical suggestion.
Main view, one reason, practical suggestion. Okay, let's hear how that sounds for the Friday deadline.
You would say, "I don't think Friday gives us enough time." That is the main view. Because the client hasn't given us the data yet. That is the one reason. Let's aim to send a draft on Friday and the final version on Tuesday. That is the practical suggestion.
Wow, that is so clean and professional. It doesn't mean your team will jump for joy and agree with you instantly, but it keeps you in the discussion as a confident equal. You aren't apologizing for having a brain and an opinion.
Precisely. Now, we've navigated the missing word, the doorway dilemma, and the strong repair. But there is one final lingering problem that I think every single human being experiences.
Oh, I know what you're going to say. The 2 a.m. cringe attack.
Yes, you know it. You are lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to sleep, and suddenly your brain decides to replay one slightly awkward sentence you said 12 hours ago.
Yes, you had 10 amazing conversations that day, but your brain ignores all of them to focus on the one time you stumbled over a word. Why do we do this? It feels like self-torture.
It's actually evolutionary biology. It is a concept called the negativity bias.
Negativity bias.
Yeah. The human brain is designed to pay much closer attention to negative events than positive ones. Historically, noticing threats like a dangerous animal kept us alive. A nice sunny day did not keep us alive.
That makes sense.
So your brain is built to constantly scan for social threats, like making a mistake in a conversation. It highlights the mistake in bright neon colors to warn you not to do it again.
So when I am cringing in bed at 2 a.m. over that coffee shop caramel incident, that is just my negativity bias trying to protect me from social danger.
Exactly. It's trying to help, but it's not actually helpful in the modern world. We need a way to override that bias. And one of the most effective tools for this is something called a confidence note.
A confidence note. I love the sound of that. Is it like writing down positive affirmations like, I am a powerful speaker?
No, because your brain is too smooth for that.
Yeah.
If you write down, I am a flawless speaker after you just made a big mistake, your brain will reject it because it knows it's a lie.
True.
A confidence note is based on tangible reality.
Let's explain tangible. Tangible means something real, something you can actually see, touch, or prove.
Right. So how do we write one? You simply write down 4 specific sentences after an uncomfortable moment. Number 1, what I did. Number 2, what I feared. Number 3, what actually happened. And number 4, what I can repeat next time.
Okay, let's practice this. Let's apply it to the person who is scared at the doorway of the workshop.
Perfect.
For number 1, what I did, you would write, I walked through the door and said hello, even though my heart was pounding.
Good. Real and honest. For number 2, what I feared, you write the reality of your anxiety. So I feared everyone would stare at me and judge me for being nervous.
Okay, number 3, what actually happened? You write, the volunteer smiled, checked my name on the list, and a guy next to me said he was also nervous.
And finally, number 4, what I can repeat next time. You write, I can use the exact same simple opening line because it got me into the room successfully.
This is so brilliant because it provides documented proof to your brain. You aren't pretending you weren't scared. You are acknowledging the fear, but you are focusing on the fact that you survived it.
Yes. Over time, writing these notes shifts your self-perception. You stop believing you need to be fearless, and you start realizing that you are capable of acting despite the fear.
It creates a track record of resilience. You learn that confidence is not a feeling you wait for. It is the result of the actions you take.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, as we wrap up our deep dive today, let's do a quick recap of the key ideas we explored. We learned that confidence isn't about being flawless. When you forget a word, you aren't on a tightrope where one mistake equals disaster. You are on a hike. You just pause, catch your balance, and keep walking.
We also talked about the doorway dilemma. Don't wait for fear to disappear. Prepare your very first line. Step into the conversation and simply listen.
We learned about the strong repair. When you make a mistake, don't over-explain or make excuses. Apologize briefly, correct the error, and offer a solution. And finally, we learned how to beat the 2 a.m. cringe by writing a confidence note to override our brain's negativity bias.
Fantastic summary. Let's also quickly review some of the everyday English vocabulary we covered today because there were some really great ones.
Yes. First, we had fight or flight, which is your body's automatic reaction to a stressful or scary situation.
We discussed losing your train of thought, a very natural way to say you forgot what you were going to say next.
We talked about being paralyzed, which means being unable to move or act because of fear.
And we used the phrase holding your ground, which means staying strong and not retreating when someone else is upset or disagreeing with you.
All wonderful phrases to practice. Which brings us to our simple speaking challenge for you, the listener, this week. We want you to think about one small communication action you have been delaying because you feel nervous.
Maybe it is sending an email in English, asking a question in a group chat, or even just speaking up in a class.
Your challenge is to apply what we learned today. Write out the single, simple sentence you need to start. Review it exactly once. Don't invent problems, just take a breath and hit send or speak the words.
Let the confidence follow the action.
We know you can do it. Try to practice your English a little bit every single day. Even just a few minutes of listening or speaking makes a massive difference over time. Remember, it's a hike, not a tightrope. Enjoy the journey, even when you trip.
Thank you all so much for spending your time with us today. Keep practicing and be kind to yourselves.
We are so proud of the progress you are making. Have a wonderful week, English learners, and we will talk to you next time. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Take care.